response first.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
See, Navika, as to why we have certain questions about Hamid Ansari, as to why we are discussing about the credibility of Hamid Ansari, there is a history attached to it. Please draw from the bookshelf a very important book written by Mr. N.K. Sood, one of the top officials of the RAW, R-A-W, RAW. And please go to the pages of this book. What does the RAW official write? I mean, look, this RAW officer's book came into print even before we formed the government in the center. And this RAW officer, Mr. Sood, goes ahead to say that while Mr. Hamid Ansari was a diplomat in Iran, in Tehran, he saw to it that many of these RAW officers were exposed. Their life was put into jeopardy. Their life was put into street. They were thrown under the bus. And there was one Mr. Mathur who was even, in fact, abducted by the authorities in Iran because of this kind of nature of Mr. Hamid Ansari. And just not one official, many officials have in fact in their books or otherwise written so about or talked so about Mr. Hamid Ansari, including Mr. Yadav, who is a top RAW official, that in many countries where Mr. Hamid Ansari acted as a diplomat, he in fact was quite sympathetic towards reasons apart from India. And not just this, while it was the Sharia courts, while it was the Jinnah portrait discussion, while it was the triple talaq, while it was the Indo-American Muslim Council debate in US, we had heard as to what Mr. Hamid Ansari had to offer. So of course, when these all add up with what happened on the dais, and we have the information that it was none other than Mr. Hamid Ansari who wanted Nusrat Mirza to be called, and Nusrat Mirza himself acknowledging the fact that he was called by Hamid Ansari and he was a spy. So what do you think? We should sit tight? We should not discuss, we should not ask question of Hamid Ansari? And as far as what are you doing about Hamid Ansari, because this is a democratic country, we are not a dictatorial body, we just don't go out pulling people out of their homes and charging them. We debate, we discuss, and of course we investigate. It's not that we don't investigate, but the investigation has its own time. It takes its own pace. Because we are a democratic country, our judiciary has its own ways.
No. Which the seating plan, the dais, the people, even the meters. How many meters does the VVIP have to walk to his chair? How many people will be sitting to his right? How many people to his left? How far will they be seated? And whether he's coming in from the left of the room or the right of the room, there is a proper drill that happens. Are you saying Mr. Hamid Ansari did not know who's sitting, and if he knew who's sitting, how was he discussing how to thwart terrorism with a Pakistani? Are the Pakistanis going to give us lessons on how to deal with terrorism in India 1 year after 26/11?
Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm really appalled that you can smile when we're talking about 26/11.
I'm smiling. Namaskar, ma'am. Thank you for having me, sure. And namaskar to all my fellow panelists and all your viewers. Very long question, a lot of things said. Please give me the courtesy because I want to explain everything. But yes, like you were extremely appalled by the picture of the Honorable ex-Vice President.
And your smile.
Fair point.